first off, I guess, like the demographic, there's a lot of older people, and that is so cool. They went through the Korean War, they went through the Depression. It was basically like a third world country after that, and it's risen to like a super strong economy, first world country definitely. So, the older people have lived through that. The middle-aged people pushed that. They pushed it from a third world country to a first world country. So, for example, the people, like the workers there, they're going to be really busy. I mean, some of them work like 7 days a week. Some of them work 6 days a week, 80-hour work week. Some of them work less, obviously, but just really hard workers because they were the foundation of that economy that blew up, basically. Something unique about Busan is that there's really, really old buildings. Like, it's a really, really old city juxtaposed against a really, really new and progressing city. So, a lot of there's so much construction going on all the time. There's like brand new buildings right up against buildings that are probably like 80, 90 years old. So you'll see people living in like the roughest of housing right next to apartment buildings that are like, 60 floors tall and just like really, really nice. So that's something interesting, just because there's like super old part, super new part, and they just kind of like meshed. I think land-wise, it's not super big, because like the Korean peninsula is really only about as big as Florida. And so the city of Busan isn't all that big, but it is super tall, like buildings on top of buildings on top of buildings. It just like rises up. I remember I got transferred there in the winter, and I didn't see grass at all until like a month before I left inside the city, just because it's straight concrete. And that's kind of cool. There's cool things about that. But the other thing is that the mountains are protected land in Korea, and it's really, really mountainous in Busan. So my second area in Busan, we lived like at the foot of a little mountain, and they can't chop down trees, so they can't expand into the mountains. And so it'll be like, the modernest of city mixed with like the oldest of city, and then just like green forest, right smack dab in the middle of it. And that's kind of cool because you can like take one step and you're in like a bustling metropolitan city, and then you take like another step and you're in a forest. So that's kind of cool. That I don't know if it's like that in any other place. Rice is actually really expensive, and so is kimchi. So the members give that to you most of the time, which is really nice. The members take care of you. You don't have a lot of member appointments, so you do have to get used to buying food and making food. They don't have a whole lot of American food for you to make, so you do get pretty good at Korean cooking inside of the city of Busan, especially. The monetary system, it's one just like everywhere else in Korea, but you do have to get used to living on the economy because you are going to be taking care of yourself food-wise a lot of the time. The missionaries don't worry about the apartment. The office takes care of that. The apartments are nice. There's not any washing machine, or there's washing machines. There's no dryers. There's no dishwashers. But it's about 1,000 won to $1, and you can live well. We lived well on like $300 a month for everything. That includes, we cooked for ourselves 3 meals a day, most of the time, traveling. The subways, the buses, and taxis. Taxis are the most expensive. The buses are generally $1.10 for admission to get on a bus, but you can take it wherever. Inside of the city of Busan, you can transfer from bus to bus. I think it's like twice, without having to repay. They have like little travel cards that you use. Those same cards get you on the subway. The subway, again, is I think $1.10 or maybe like 90 cents, 900 won, 1,100 won. So it's not super expensive to travel around, especially because it'll take you really anywhere you need to go in the city. The buses are super great, the subways are super great, the taxi men are awesome. Crime, it's hilarious. You'll go into the subway system, and they have like Korea's most wanted 25 most wanted people. The first 10 are like murder, but the rest of them are tax evasion, basically. Super safe. Really, really safe. I think somebody got robbed maybe like 100 years ago, and then that ended. But no, like Yeah, only one missionary ever got robbed, I think, or maybe twice in the whole 2 years I was there. But that was super rare, and they were like deep inner city. So not a big deal. It's really safe. The people are nice. The food, yeah, so that is actually something special to Korea. Some of the things to see are like the fish markets there, because like jagarchi, for instance, is famous in Korea. It's just like endless fish market in like the southernmost part of the Busan city. Shopping is really good there. You can get basically anything you want. Ties are like $1, $2 in a lot of places. So don't buy ties before you go to Korea. Or suits, because those are super cheap as well. I think I got a suit for like $60, and then I got another one, like a nice one, for $110, and it's still lasting me really well. So that's nice. The food, yeah, it's really fish-centric and really easy to get around, really easy to eat there. But the food is really different in Busan inside of Korea. Korea is probably the most technologically advanced place I think you could be. Everybody has a smartphone, the latest smartphone. Whether or not that's a good thing is up to other people, but everybody has one. Cool things to see. Bomosa is a Korean temple. It's on a mountain, but it's still like basically in the city. It was my second area was like a 5-minute bus ride from it. It's one of the biggest temples in Korea. And then there's like 3 sacred artifacts to Buddhism in Korea. And they're each in like a huge temple. And one of those temples is inside it's not in the city of Busan, it's in Yangsan, but it's right above Busan. And that's like an 1.5-hour bus ride from that area. That's really cool to see. There's another in the Busan mission, not necessarily in the city of Busan, but the Shilla dynasty, which was like the longest and most powerful Korean dynasty. The capital isn't Seoul, it's Gyeongju, which is also in the Busan mission. So that's just like chock full of all kind of history. Huge tombs that are like big mounds. They're not as big as the pyramids, I guess, but they're like really big burial mounds. Those are super cool to see. There's like a fortress there that's really cool to see. One of the best preserved, most famous temples, Buddhist temples, is in Gyeongju. The city itself is just really old and really beautiful. You can take bike tours of that. We did that for a young men's activity one time. Inside of Busan, there's the Buddhist temple there that's really pretty. There's a lot to see. It's just like, I guess I've been to New York City and it's comparable to that, but like more jam-packed and like more historical, if you could imagine that. All 4 seasons, definitely all 4 seasons, very, very hot and humid in the summer. It's kind of nice being in Busan because you have the sea breeze to kind of cool you off if you're kind of on the coast. Really, really cold in the winter, and it doesn't snow a whole lot typically, so it's just really, really miserably biting cold wind, a lot of wind. Not as bad as Siberia probably, but it's cold. But really, really pretty turning of the seasons, definitely distinct 4 seasons, really pretty. There's a monsoon season that's kind of interesting during, what is that? That's kind of like July, August time frame, I guess. And a lot of rain, a lot of wind. Umbrellas don't really work.